Back. Happy New Year to everyone here and everybody watching back home. We will start our City Council regular meeting. Today is Tuesday, January 4th, 2022. We are at Council Chambers, City Hall, 100 South Monroe Street, Eagle Pass, Maverick County, Texas. We'll start this meeting at 5:36 p.m. We will begin with the establishment of quorum. We do have a quorum today with Mayor Pro Tem Ramon, Councilman Davis, Councilman Diaz, myself, Mayor Salinas, and Councilwoman Monica Cruz is absent.
I am going to be here.
Oh, great, great. Strike that. Ms. Cruz is on, and she's on by
Yes, I
by
apologize.
Zoom. Thank you for joining us. All right, we will move
Of
on
course.
with a moment of reverence. I would like to take a couple seconds to remember those fighting in the armed forces abroad. Thank you very much. Citizens' communications and recognitions. Madam Secretary, do we have any?
No citizens communication, Mayor.
Okay. And has the appointee logged on, George? Have you seen her?
Do you think she would be able to?
If not, we'll move on to item number 1, public hearings. Public hearing on the proposed replat of Lot 121 in Chula Vista Subdivision, Unit 2. Closing of public hearing and possible action. For the record, we will open this public hearing at 5:37 p.m.
Thank you.
Good evening, Mayor and Council.
Good evening.
So what you have before you is a replat application submitted by Tech Services. Property is located off of FM 2030, like you mentioned before, in the Chula Vista Subdivision Unit 2. So here you have two mobile homes in that one lot. The reason being, the reason for the replat is to subdivide it to service each one of the mobile homes. They're also asking for a variance to proceed to final, bypassing the preliminary plat, a variance to reduce the average 70 feet width of the lots, and also a sidewalk waiver from having to construct a sidewalk, including curb and gutter along the property street frontage abutting FM 2030. So our recommendation, planning, and also the recommendation, let me go back here, let me scroll back here. This is a plat drawing right here. So zoomed in of the subject property. And this is the original lot, it was legally platted.
You said there's 2 mobile homes in that one lot?
That's correct.
Is that common for the area? Like,
It's very common, especially out in the county.
Okay.
It's very common, and so the reason, like I mentioned before, the reason for the replat is to service each one of the mobile units. So the recommendation from the Planning and Zoning Commission is that the City Council grant the subdivision variance to proceed directly to final replat without first having obtained preliminary replat approval, as required by the City of Eagle Pass Code of Ordinances. Grant the subdivision variance to reduce the 70 feet lot width to 50 feet. Deny the sidewalk waiver, including the curb and gutter. And 4, recommend that City Council grant the final approval of the proposed final replat of Lot 121 in Chula Vista Unit 2.
And is there sidewalks in all the areas? Or can
There's
that-
no sidewalks within the vicinity.
Because I was seeing, they're saying to decline that. I mean,
Also, 53 notices were mailed out to the abutting property owners within the 500 feet radius as required. And as of December 22nd of last year, the planning department received 5 letters as undeliverable.
since this is a public hearing, do we have anyone in the public that would like to give or have any information regarding this item?
The 3-inch water line. Yes.
I mean, but it's.
Well, oh, I wasn't.
I mean, so it's
I
not
think it was
that,
an actual,
it's the hearing.
they didn't deny the requests. You want to mention that or?
What would be the reason for denying the sidewalk waiver of the other, Councilman Davis has a point, of the other properties don't have sidewalks?
Well, just as a correction, Placido just mentioned at the P&Z meeting, our Planning and Zoning Commission did actually denied the request only because the application was missing some information. So they came back, filled it out, and so now it's a complete application. That's the reason for the denial of the sidewalk waiver.
Okay.
Is that
So
correct?
let me add to that a little bit and kind of clarify, because the point is a very good one. I'm glad you brought that up. So in these cases, most oftentimes we do recommend the variance for that, because a sidewalk in front of two lots where there doesn't connect to anything else and doesn't allow for the water flow doesn't really serve its purpose. In fact, sometimes it hinders the water flow and causes issues. So that denial was, again,
Due
as
to-
Maribel said, due to some lacking information, but that was submitted, so I do apologize, but the recommendation should actually say to grant that, because in this case, it's more appropriate
Okay.
to
I mean, I
grant.
would understand if they were doing sidewalks in the entire street, that, you know, that block or something like that, but at this point, I mean, I wouldn't feel, you know.
Okay,
And
so
it was-
that
That's why
cleared things
It was-
up.
as we were reading, it stands out, but,
Yeah.
you know, that's fine.
And it was actually the county planning department and county engineer were the ones that recommended that they applied for these, all these variances and sidewalk waivers.
Okay. All right, so at this time, if we don't have any member of the public with any concerns, we will close the public hearing at 5:43 PM. And at this time, I'll entertain a motion.
Well, I would like to, go ahead. But I would just like to make the motion to grant it as presented, but also allow
With the
for the
correction.
variance, yeah, because that's,
Okay.
just to change it, because it's not written that way. so
We
just-
have a motion by Councilman Davis to grant basically all the items.
Correct.
And do we have a second? We have a second by Mayor Pro Tem Ramon. Discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Ms. Cruz? Okay, unanimous. Item number 2, public hearing on the proposed replat of Lot C in Block 11 of Town Site of Fabrica, closing of public hearing and possible action. And we will open this public hearing at 5:44 PM.
Thank you, Mayor.
Thank you.
So what you have again, it's a replat, one lot being subdivided into 5 residential lots, property located in the Seco Mines area, across the Seco Mines Elementary. And so they are also, here is the, give me a sec. Here's the plat. These are the subject lots. And these down here are the measurements of each one of the lots that are being created.
So right now, it's just zoned as one lot,
Yes.
one is subdivided into 5.
Into 5 residential. So 66 notices were mailed out again to the property owners within the 500 feet radius. And as of December 22nd of 2021, the planning department has not received any letters in favor or in opposition. So the recommendation would be that the city council grant the subdivision variance to proceed directly to final plat, grant the subdivision variance to reduce the required 70 feet lot width to 50. And here, again, that's going to be granting of the sidewalk waiver as well. And for approve the final replat approval of the subject lot.
And it's big enough for those 5 lots, right?
Yes.
But it's, I see that.
All right.
It's almost a whole
Does-
block, actually. If you look at the aerial map, it almost,
Let me go back
so I mean,
here.
I can understand the sidewalks there.
These are some of the photos of the area. You do have the curb and gutter, you just don't have the sidewalks. But again, the county recommended that they submit their waivers and variances as well.
Okay, does anyone in the public have any questions or concerns regarding public hearing number 2? Okay, since we have no questions or concerns, we will close the public hearing at 5:46 PM. And at this time, I will entertain a motion.
So,
I have a motion by Councilman Davis.
Second.
A second by Mayor Pro Tem Ramon. Discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Unanimous. At this time, if it's okay with council, I would like to move item number 12. Move it up so that we have some members from Waterworks here, and I believe somebody has logged on, right? Is that okay with you?
that's fine.
Okay. So item number 12, other business. Consideration and possible confirmation of the appointment of a member of the Eagle Pass Waterworks System Board of Trustees. Mr. Barrera, good evening.
Good evening, Mayor, members of council. We had presented to the board some names for our next board member. Ms. Claudia Wright's term, 8-year term, is ending in February, so we are going to elect a new person. So we presented to the board, and the board selected Diana Lorena Salinas from Board of Federal Credit Union to be our next board member. So we are presenting at this time, and I believe she is on.
Mrs. Salinas?
Hello, everyone. I am connected.
Okay. Well, first of all, we want to thank Ms. Wright for her service
Yes.
in this board. She served how many years?
8
Ms. Wright?
years.
8
This
years
will
of
be her
service
eighth
to
year.
the city, to Eagle Pass Waterworks, that's very commendable. We thank you for that. And this does need approval by council. Do we have a motion? Motion made to approve Ms. Diana Salinas by Councilman Davis, a second by
I'll
Mayor.
second.
There's a second by Mayor Pro Tem Ramon. Discussion, all those in favor? Unanimous. Councilwoman Cruz, there was already a second, but we did vote unanimous on this. So, congratulations, Mrs. Salinas.
Thank you very much.
Look forward to seeing you at the
Thank you all.
meetings. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, Mr.
Appreciate it.
Rivera.
Thank you very much.
Mr. Flores, thank you. All right. Item number 3, public hearing on the proposed replat of Lot 3 and Block 20 of Deer Run Subdivision, Unit 4. Closing of public hearing and possible action. We will open this public hearing at 5:49 PM. Yes,
Thank you,
ma'am.
Mayor. So what you have before you is another replat, also out in the county. Subject property is being subdivided, being that there's 2 residential structures on the lot, sitting on the lot. Only that they are requesting to get service for each one of the residences. Here is the aerial or the photo of the site. The subject lot that's being subdivided. And the addresses of the 2 proposed lots.
Okay.
Let me just go to the,
They got them exactly the same size. 87 that's pretty good.
yeah.
Is that a mobile home or no?
There are 2 houses.
2 houses, right?
It's a 2-story house and this house here.
Okay.
This and this.
Yeah. Does any member of the public have any questions or concern regarding this public hearing? Council, any other questions? Okay. We will close this public hearing at 5:50 PM, and I will entertain a motion. Well, actually, what is your
The
recommendation?
recommendation from our Planning and Zoning Commission is to grant the subdivision variance to go directly to final, grant the subdivision variance to reduce the required 70 feet lot width to 50 feet. 3, approve the sidewalk waiver, and 4, recommend that City Council grant the final approval of the proposed replat.
You said approve? Oh, approve
Yes,
the denial.
And same thing here.
The
with
same
number
thing
3,
here,
right?
Okay.
because it was an incomplete,
Oh,
they
the
left
same as
out a
approval.
portion of the application, so.
Okay. And it's the same thing where other properties don't have sidewalks, right? So-
That's correct.
Okay.
That's correct.
I'll entertain a motion.
So moved.
Motion by Mayor Pro Tem Ramon to approve.
Second.
Second by Councilman Elias Diaz. Discussion. All those in favor?
Aye.
Unanimous. Item number 4, public hearing on the request submitted by Ernesto Fuentes for the rezoning of Lot 17 and 18, Block 7, Hillcrest Edition, 597 Medina Street, from R3 Duplex District to R3A Apartment District, closing of public hearing. Mr. Madera?
Yes, Mayor,
Go
thank
ahead.
you. This item, again, is a rezone being applied
Oh,
for.
I'm sorry,
by-
I'm sorry about that. Let me open the public hearing at 5:52 PM. Yes.
Thank you. Again, this item is a rezone. The applicant Ernesto Fuentes. The property is located at 597 Medina Street. The legal description is lot 17 and 18 in Block 7 of Hillcrest Edition. The parcel size is 11,625 square feet, which is a key item I'll bring up again in a minute. It's currently zoned R3 Duplex District, which would allow for 2 units under one roof, 2 connected units. And the applicant is seeking to rezone to R3A to be able to do a little bit more than just the 2 units under one roof. This is the corner, Medina and Leona. There is a structure in there quite some years in some state of disrepair, and so the applicant is looking to revitalize and do a little bit more with that property. Some other photos here, you can see at the other corner of Medina and Ferry, other additional apartment units that are in front of the, I believe it's a Minutes gas station and car wash.
How many units is that apartment complex there in the corner?
It's a good
More
question.
than 2,
I
right?
believe
It's
it's,
like 4.
I believe it's 4, if I'm not mistaken. It's several, it's definitely more than a duplex.
Mhm.
And again, some more vicinity photos. There's a preliminary plot plan for what they have in mind to do with the lot. It would be 3 structures, and each structure essentially being a duplex, a 2-unit. So for a total of 6 units.
6 units.
They do have the required parking spaces, it meets all the minimum requirements to do that. The ordinance does require, once you are doing apartments and you're exceeding 4 units, you have to have an additional 1,800 square feet per unit after 4. So in this case, they want to do 6, so you go 7,000 up to 8,800 and then to 10,600. In this case, the lot is 11,600, so it not only meets that, it's got still some extra space than basically what ordinance would require for a 6-unit. It's a fairly large lot. I'm wondering if it possibly was multiple units at previously, multiple homes. The zoning map here shows you, it's not quite as clear, but it's significantly bigger. It's at least 50% bigger than a lot of the surrounding lots on that street. And you can see above here, we marked some duplexes along with apartments. And then once you cross Ferry, if you're familiar with the area, it's tons of apartments. That's almost all you see between Ferry and I believe it's 2nd Street, the next intersecting. You see quite a few apartments. So this area, we do feel is appropriate for this type of development. It's not your typical single-family residential area. It's more of a high-traffic, busy kind of business area where people go through to Main Street. Here's another aerial, an aerial of the area.
Where is it there?
This would be right here,
corner.
this intersection, Leona and Medina.
Okay, in the bottom,
It's,
where the blue is. I
We
see.
tried to put a little bit of blue mark, but yeah, it didn't
Yeah.
show up that well.
There's plenty of space. It's good.
Can you go back to the picture? I'm sorry. I'm just trying to figure out.
What's that, Councilwoman? I don't think,
Oh, it's on
We
this
got that.
side,
okay, plenty of space.
Okay, I know which way you're going. Okay, gotcha. I was going the other way. Okay. I'm fine now, I
You
get it.
got it? Okay. So those are the main details. Additionally, 15 notices were mailed out to abutting property owners, and we did receive one letter in favor and one letter in opposition on that. And then we'll do the recommendation on the, I believe it's item number 7.
Item 7, okay. Does anyone in the public have any questions, concerns regarding this public hearing? Right now is your opportunity.
I don't know if there's a way to ask, I mean, without it being, sounding bad, but I mean, the one that was against it, is it like right next door or something, or?
See if we have
I mean, is there a reason why you were against it?
If I remember correctly, it was an error, but I might be wrong.
It was a what?
It was an error in the planning and zoning.
Oh, for the letters?
Yeah.
Yes, it was a letter, it was I copied and pasted.
Oh, so we did not actually receive one in opposition?
Oh.
I apologize, we did not receive one in opposition.
As that property stands now, that structure there is kind of I drive by there a lot, so it's an eyesore.
No, it'll be a
So,
much needed improvement.
If
so
somebody
the other
wants
one-
to
yeah.
come and invest and make something bad into something good looking and serve a purpose, I mean, I think it's
Yeah,
good.
so moved.
Yeah.
You have a motion.
At this point, do we
She
have
made a
any?
motion, but I think you need to get the recommendation.
Right.
This one's just the
public
public
hearing.
hearing.
Just a public hearing.
In item 7, we'll have the.
Yeah, so at this time, we will close the public hearing at 5:57 PM. No action, right?
No,
All right.
unless you want to move up item number 7.
Yes, let's go ahead and, now that we're there, we'll move up item number 7, which is regarding this issue. So item 7, consideration and possible approval of an ordinance changing the zoning district classification of Lot 17 and 18, Block 7, Hillcrest Edition, 597 Medina Street, from R3 Duplex District to R3A Apartment District, finding that the meeting at which this ordinance is passed is open to the public as required by law, providing a severability clause and establishing an effective date.
But she made a motion, I'm not sure to make it. Ms. Cruz.
Councilwoman Cruz, you had made a motion to approve. Do you still want to make that motion on this item 7?
Yes, please.
Okay, we have a motion by Councilwoman Cruz and a second by Councilman Davis. Any discussion? All those in favor? Unanimous. Okay. Thank you.
Thank you.
Yes. We'll move on to item number 5, consent agenda items. There's only one item, so we'll just read it. It's item 5 is approval of the minutes for December 7, 2021. Have you all had a chance to review the minutes? If so, do we have a motion to approve?
I'll make a motion.
Motion by Councilman Diaz and second by Mayor Pro Tem Ramon. Discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Unanimous. Moving on to item 7, monthly reports. We'll start with the bridge system. Any questions for Mr. Valderas from the Bridge Department? Traffic has increased by a lot, right, Mr. Valderas?
Yes, correct.
Okay.
60%.
60%? Okay, good. Good. All right, that's good for our city. Economic development? Finance grants? Any questions for fire? Human resources? Library? Marketing? Municipal court? And if I'm going too fast, feel free to stop me and just... Parks and Recreation? Planning and Building? Police, Code Enforcement, Security, and Animal Control? Public Works? Or the Tax Office? Any questions, concerns? Well, everyone's doing a great job. Moving on to item number 8, consideration and possible approval of an amending section, amending 22-91.1 to Article 6, Chapter 22, Streets, Sidewalks, and Other Public Places of the Code of Ordinances of the City of Eagle Pass by amending Exhibit A, finding that the meeting at which this ordinance is passed is open to the public as required by law, providing a severability clause, and establishing an effective date.
Hello, Mayor and City Council.
I'm gonna say that.
I wanted to bring in front of you the security for ICT. Currently, the ICT requires Eagle Pass Police Department to cover the security for all events, quinceañeras, weddings, and so forth. Over the years, the busier the community gets, the busier ICT gets, it's becoming harder to get Eagle Pass Police Department to make it out there. They have other things, around the community to handle, especially busy times like 4th of July, the Christmas holidays, busy seasons for the bridge. It gets harder. So after talking with administration and Chief Guedea and some other police lieutenants, we decided that it might be better if we sway from just Eagle Pass Police Department, allowing other securities to handle the security there. So the way we would handle it is kind of the way we handle our catering. Come together with the Eagle Pass Police Department, have them approve a list of securities, such as constables, deputy constables, gold security, RAM security. There's several options that we can do. Give the customers that option and let them hire, outsource the security. That way we can allow Eagle Pass Police Department handle other things in the community. So that's what I'm asking right now, is to switch from just Eagle Pass Police Department, but to open it up to other.
Okay. And Chief, you're okay with that?
Yes, we discussed it, and it was best for us to go that route, because an example would be when we had all that traffic coming in and the county event at the same time. Well, we had all the officers occupied.
Right.
We couldn't provide people to go to do security.
Yeah, and then I have an event at night and they've worked all day, so it becomes difficult.
Right. It makes sense to me to have more options available.
So long as everyone's, if you're okay with that, I just want to make sure that
Because it would be better for the city to have somebody there, as opposed to we're half tied up and we can't provide the security for the ICT at the same time.
So it wouldn't be, per se, you choosing security, it would be the customer themselves. You give them a list, and then they'll choose who they want to
Yes,
go.
there's certain security certifications, there are certain options that Chief feels is necessary for us to have. So they would give me their approval, and that's who they would choose from.
Okay.
I wouldn't make it would be up to them. They know what is best. And so I will provide that list for my customer. Then I will require them to provide a receipt, like I do now, prior
Where
to
they
the
paid.
event. Yes, show proof that they have hired the security.
The only thing that I have two concerns with it. One
Yes.
is, I want to make sure that security is actually there, because like are they taking care of it, or are you making the phone call to get, they're booking the security themselves.
Yeah, so
I just
even
want to make sure
now,
that there is always security there, that we don't drop the ball because it's being outsourced. That's one. And the other part of it is, I want to make sure also that we're not, what's the right word? I want to make sure that our city police officers have an opportunity to.
we don't
'Cause
want
I don't want them to be circumvented, I guess I want to say that. I
we're
wanna
not
make
going to
sure
take
they
them
still have
off the list. That's
Okay, I
also
just
going
wanna
to be
make
an
sure that
option.
that option's still available. then.
Yes,
if
because
they're
there's
not
a lot of situations where they do want to have Eagle Pass Police Department, and I want to leave it up to their discretion. And so we're not going to remove them. It's, we'll have them on there, as a possibility, give them also that option. And secondly, right now the way it works is they go to Beto Garza and they get security, and then they send me the receipt. So that's how I know they've done it. We're going to be doing it the same way, except it's going to be done through someone else. So they're going to be showing me
It could
proof.
be through different ones. Okay.
Yeah, it's just going to be, yes. So they're going to be required to bring me a receipt where they've already paid the security or anything like that.
Okay.
The only thing that the only other thing that I want to think that we might need to add in there is, let's say they outsource to someone and then they don't show.
Right.
Then
And we
what?
did discuss this.
Then what?
It's a possibility.
I mean, because
Well-
things could happen. I don't want to be negative or anything like that, but I want to make sure that anyone that goes to the ICT is always safe. That's my number one.
We can make it to where they check in. They check in maybe with me or with I always have a custodian. I always have a staff member there to check in. If we see by any chance that it doesn't, no one shows up, I can reach out to Chief. And there's been situations where they say, you know what, you don't need us, you don't need one of us. We'll just do we'll drive by. And so sometimes that's what they do. So in that kind of circumstance, which I hope it doesn't happen, I mean, that would be really my only option, is make sure that whoever they hire checks in at the time of the event. Maybe instead of 7 o'clock, have them show up maybe 30 minutes before, make that a requirement. That way we have enough leeway to manage an emergency in case.
Ms. Haide, and how are we gonna follow up or follow through with knowing that, okay, let's just say, somebody's hired, and it is a private company, we know that their securities have the proper certifications to be able to do that. Is somebody gonna be checking that?
I'm gonna leave it up to them to tell me who they feel is appropriate for us to allow.
Checking into that, to the people see that are licensed and bonded to be working.
Oh, okay.
They have a police officer's license and everything.
Okay, so they are gonna be.
You'll develop that list, Chief? Your
Okay,
department?
once it's approved, we'll work together.
Okay.
We just want to make sure that everyone, if that opportunity is going to be given to everyone, that it's a fair opportunity, but also that we're covered as far as certifications is concerned. Are they certified to do that?
Yes, it's not
that
just gonna
job?
be anyone that's gonna be allowed to do security
Right.
there. It's gonna have to meet the requirements set by chief.
Okay.
And like I said, we'll make sure that it's open to everyone, if some, they wanna go with Eagle Pass Police Department, that's also an option. But in those times that we're really, really busy, it's hard to take them away from something, a
Especially
bigger an
in-
emergency, especially in the busy seasons.
Makes sense.
So is this gonna be like all the time they're gonna do that, or only during the busy season that they're?
It would be
Just
To them.
all
The whole
year
year.
long,
Okay.
yes. It's gonna kind of be like my catering list. I'm gonna provide them the catering list at time of contract and the security at the time of contract. And Eagle Pass Police Department will be on there as well. Because like I said, I do have customers who really prefer to have them there. It makes them feel.
And I guess the amount of money they pay will vary, so they'll have a choice as to who they want.
Yes, I believe they each charge differently.
Of course.
Any other questions, concerns? I'll entertain a motion to amend this ordinance.
So moved.
Motion by Mayor Pro Tem Ramon. Do we have a second?
A second.
Second by Councilman Diaz. Discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Unanimous. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, Chief. Thank you. Item number 9, second reading of an ordinance granting to AEP Texas Inc., its successors, and assigns a non-exclusive franchise to construct, maintain, and operate lines and appurtenances and appliances for conducting electricity in, over, under, and through the streets, avenues, alleys, and public places of the city of Eagle Pass, Texas. Finding that the meeting at which this ordinance is passed is open to the public as required by law, providing a severability clause, and establishing an effective date.
Eddie, you got this.
Mr. Morales, can you hear us?
Yes, Mayor, I can. Can you hear me?
Yes, we can.
This is a renewal of a franchise agreement. It had come up, City Secretary's office had informed us. And so administration and legal went back and forth for about, 6 to 8 months, I think. And so this is the final version. It's been approved by legal and administration. We're asking and recommending that council approve it.
Okay. All right. We have a motion to approve by Mayor Pro Tem Ramon and a second by Councilman Davis. Any discussion on this item? At this time, we'll vote. All those in favor?
Aye.
Unanimous. Item number 10, second reading of an ordinance amending the 2021-2022 budget adopted by ordinance number 2021-17 to adjust citywide revenues and appropriations to fund current year commitments, finding that the meeting at which this ordinance is passed is open to the public as required by law, providing a severability clause, and establishing an effective date.
So moved.
Oh, we have a motion by Councilwoman Cruz. Was anyone going to provide information?
Presented to us, or?
This is the reclassification. of
Yeah,
the public work.
so we have a motion,
Second.
a second by Mayor Pro Tem Ramon. All those in favor? Unanimous. Thank you. Item 11, consideration and possible approval of a resolution approving the submission of a grant application to the Texas Department of Housing and Community Affairs for a domestic violence shelter and fire station number 4.
Mayor, Council, we're asking that you remove number 11 to push it back till after we come out of executive session.
Okay.
You need a table, need a motion, or?
We just,
No, okay, just-
Consider it as when we come back.
Okay, we will consider this item at a later time. We'll move on to item number 13, discussion and possible action on the City of Eagle Pass Master Plan.
Mayor, thank you. This is a brief item we'd like to present. It's a very important item, as a master plan is oftentimes considered one of the most important documents for a city.
And Mr. Madera, can you explain that a little bit, just for the people that might be listening, why it's so important to have an updated city master plan?
Yes, yeah, it definitely is very important to explain it. It's really a very broad vision for where we want to see the city. Usually they're looked at in terms of 20 years, sometimes even further out than that. So it's really planning and preparing for getting us to where we want the city to be 20 years from now. It encompasses several areas like economic development, quality of life, park systems, the streets and thoroughfare plan and systems. So it really helps to have a good framework. When things are developing, it's a thought out, planned way so that we have organized and sustainable growth. And so everything works together, meshes well. Sometimes organic growth is good, where just things happen on their own, but then that can also lead to things that, don't tie in or don't connect well. Somebody just thought, well, I'm only worried about developing my parcel here, and they're not thinking about what the neighboring or what's going to come 20 years from them. So this document really helps with that, and it's also very important because a lot of stakeholder involvement is key here. Getting a community involvement, the leadership, obviously with the city council, other organizations, so that everybody's moving together in the same direction. If we're pulling one way and other organizations are not tying in with us and are not brought in for this, sometimes we're using resources in a way that's not the most effective possible. So those are that's kind of a summary of the importance of it. For the one that we have one that was developed in 2018. Obviously, we just hit 2022. Some years have now passed. Several items within this master plan have been accomplished already. And we also have a new census just came out. That impacts the master plan quite a bit as well, because a lot of the details within the master plan have to do with census data. And now that we have new data, it may be a really good opportunity for us to update this. Although it is a pretty big undertaking, so council may consider us looking at possibly RFPing to get some assistance with doing a major update to this. And then once we get to that, it probably would involve workshops and again community and different stakeholder involvement. Just as a quick informational piece, so this existing one from 2018 that we mentioned has some seven key focus areas. Just to give you an example, I think I touched on some of these, but economic performance, growth capacity, infrastructure, transportation, the downtown area, housing and neighborhoods, quality of life and parks, land use and community character. So again, it really covers almost everything you can think of in terms of the development and the way the city runs and things tie together. So again, with council's approval, I think it would be a good time for us to look at and making a major update to what we have.
Yeah, I wanted to bring this item because I know that, like you said, we do have one, but it's from 2018, might be a little outdated. So I think it's time that we look at everything that's changing. Eagle Pass is growing in many different facets of the city, so it would be good to have an updated master plan. The one in 2018, was that like a complete master plan?
That was, so prior to that, The one before was a 2005 master plan.
2005.
So we had been operating under that for quite a while before this one was done. This one was intended to be a major revamp. And then typically every 5 years or so, you do kind of a refresher on one of these. So we're pretty much hitting that time frame to do that now.
If we go back and look at the 2005 master plan, have we met some of the objectives that we planned on meeting? Have we grown to the capacity that we expected to in 2005?
That's a good point to bring up. That master plan, the 2005 master plan, it touches on a lot of, I think they're fairly similar in terms of trying to create a nice thoroughfare for people being able to get across the city. It touches on affordable housing and adequate housing for the people of the community. And I think we have. I think a lot of those things, we've made huge strides. The city is growing significantly, and I think there are a lot of those areas that have been tackled at this point. But in a way, the target kind of moves as we go along. So even if we said we were trying to establish good, for example, housing, affordable housing, an adequate number of housing, the amount we needed then has drastically changed now. So it may still be a goal, even though we have made a lot of progress from where we were then. The amount of population and changes that we've had, it may still be a goal now.
Mr. Madera, just, because I know that I think all of us have had that conversation with the master plan and, one master plan and then another. And I understand, I believe in updating as we go. But just for the sake of, if there's any questions out there about it, can you name or can you think of the top of your head any projects that have been completed with for example, let's not go back all the way to 2005, but with the 2000, what was the 2018? After 2018, any of those projects that have been completed?
I would say we did really well, and we do have Arturo here. I would say we did really well in the area that touched on downtown, and some of the goals there had to do with revitalizing the area, bringing in new businesses. Business incubator was, I think, one of the items that I recall reading in there that I think is well underway, or we're definitely on track to be able to provide that. So yeah, there definitely are quite a bit of those that we already done from the 2018 to now.
We've also added new zoning capabilities as well. So we added additional zoning for housing when we, in 2019, we only had 2, and now you have 4. You have 2 residential, now you have 4 residential zoning. We added a smaller lot lines and also garden home capacities. So we're trying to address that as well to make sure that we're getting. So we've achieved a good chunk of the 2018 one, and some of these master plans, they are, like he says, they're futuristic, but they usually try to accomplish them in 5 years. And you can do a master plan pretty quick. I mean, sometimes you can knock it out in 4 years or 3 years, or sometimes less, depending on the community growth. But something like this would be very, very helpful to update it at least. But we've also addressed canopy issues and landscaping issues, and also the fencing component as well. A lot of those things kicked in the 2019 or in January 2020 ordinances that we passed as well. So it's just time to kind of do a refresher on it.
Get the ball rolling and get it updated.
Yeah, one more I can just think of after hearing that reminded me of is the sidewalks, transportation and mobility. We have done a really good job in these last years, adding sidewalks and adding safer routes to school, for example, and just safer for pedestrian access.
And who can miss or forget that parks?
Yeah,
we've come a long way with parks.
Yeah.
The Parks Master Plan as well, that was part of it.
Who would you reach
Charles
out to?
Munoz was part of it.
Well, we just-
One of them too, that's right.
It would be a standard RFP that we would ask for, and then it's very common. You'll have 4 or 5 applicants.
Okay.
So you're wanting
I'll make a motion.
for another one for this?
Yes. No, just to
To
RFP
update.
it, so somebody can start working on it.
Okay.
So do we have a motion by Councilman Diaz
Second.
and a second by Mayor Pro Tem Ramon, and your motion is to get the ball rolling and
Is to go out for RFPs to update our
update the
plan.
master plan. Okay. Discussion?
No, I just think it's a good idea that we need to continue to do that. And, I mean, we don't have a roadmap of where we see our city, then
Right.
we'll never know if we get there. We need to put our plan into place as well. And
For clarification purposes, it would be a request for qualifications.
Okay.
RFQ.
RFQ. All right. All those in favor?
Aye.
Unanimous. Thank you, Mr. Maleta. Item 14, consideration and possible action on the preliminary plat of the MGA Subdivision Unit 1.
Yes, Mayor, this item, the applicant here is Crane Engineering out of Laredo, Texas. And they're representing the developer. Company name is Desarrollos y Proyectos del Águila LLC. This location is off of Del Rio Boulevard. Close, the next nearest intersection is Veterans, Del Rio
behind the Mass
Boulevard.
Subdivision.
Behind the Dollar General
So where is it?
off of Paso del Rio.
Oh,
This
okay,
would
it's this
be-
other way.
This
Okay.
would be the Dollar General off of Del Rio Boulevard. So if you head down Paso del Rio, there would be additional units behind those the existing neighborhoods, which is Ensenada Street, Ceniza Drive, Paso del Rio, and Buena Vista. The parcel size for the phase one, and I'll go back one more time just to show you that what they're currently doing is a phase one unit, and that would be just under 12 acres of land that's going to be developed there. The recommended zoning for this is going to be R2, which is the most popular zoning development type that we're seeing right now. The R1 requirement is a 70-foot minimum average width of lot. And a 70-foot average width of lot is fairly large. You know, I think we see, I guess the economics of it play in favor of more of a 55, 60, or maybe 65 feet width in terms of being able to get a good amount of lots out of the area and develop it, you know, efficiently. So while when this started, there was some consideration of R1. We kind of went back and forth because the front area, the existing homes on Ensenada, Ceniza, those are the 70-foot wide lots. They are R1. So there was some thought of trying to keep it as R1, but they were looking at 60 to 65 average width. So they were looking at possibly a variance. So we said, why not just go with the R2 classification? That way you'll meet that width, and that's what pretty much we see. You know, the Villa Romel, and pretty much all the other subdivisions, which they see this one as trying to be looking to be a nice subdivision as well. They're pretty much all going with R2 as well. So here's a layout of the phase one lots. There are 46 lots on this in this proposed subdivision development. One of the things we are pretty excited about as well is to show this grading plan. We've been working to try to address an issue with lots that between one and the one right behind it, where they back up to each other, there's significantly different elevations. And that requires a lot of fill. Sometimes it requires a retaining wall to be put in place to help keep the soil from eroding down. And what we've been working on, getting some guidance on, is a grading plan that shows each lot having a plan and how each one ties in to the one around it and how it ties in to the future phase, because that's really where we've had some issues in the past. Is one phase doesn't account for the next one, so one phase to the back of a lot is 6 feet high, and then the next one's coming in at ground level, and you're having just a massive variance of that height, which causes plenty of issues and cost for the people trying to develop. So this one is addressing that, and each one has a categorized lot grading system. It's an alphabetical A, B, or C, which tells you essentially where it's going to flow to. So we're excited to have that. This is one of the first developments maybe in a while. This is the first one in a while. I'm not sure if we had it in prior years that is going to be addressing that. The zoning map here will show you, it is a lot of R1 in front of it, in between Del Rio Boulevard and this proposed subdivision. But as you can see, what it's going to be tying into behind and beside it is all R2. The Applewood and the different Bass subdivision area is all R2. So this one being R2 will tie in to everything alongside it.
There's no flooding issues there?
This one is not in the flooding area.
It's high up there.
And so with that, we'll present the recommendation here, which is to, one other critical detail is that the applicant was seeking to dedicate parkland in lieu of dedication fee, parkland fee. But in this case, we're recommending to not deny that recommendation and request the fees in lieu of land. We do have the approximately 6 acres of the Hunter Park, which is part of the Bass subdivision, very nearby this area. That's going to be one of our larger parks. And so we have quite a bit of land already in this area for parkland that we need to develop. So we see this as if we got additional land, that would just be more land we need to find resources to build up and develop when we already have plenty of land that we're working to develop very nearby.
What is the parkland fee on each lot? Like,
11 flat, 1150, I believe.
Okay.
So we can literally use some of that land to revitalize the 10 acres that is nearby.
Yeah. Hunter Park.
Yes, so the recommendation is again to deny that request to dedicate parkland in lieu of cash, but to grant the preliminary plat approval of this proposed MGA subdivision Unit 1, subjected to complying with the Code of Ordinances. And we did list the specific excerpt from the ordinance that gives the city the ability to, if it is less than 5 acres of parkland that is going to be dedicated for development, the city does have that right to deny that and ask for the fees in lieu.
And if approved, do they have a timeline as to when they would start developing?
I don't know exactly their timeline offhand. I believe we do have some members of the development team and maybe the engineers on the line, so they may be able to answer that.
Just a question. Mr. Aranda? Yes, sir.
As soon as you approve it.
All right.
Good stuff. All right.
Any other questions?
No. At this time, I'll entertain a motion unless somebody has other questions,
If
comments?
I may have a word, Mayor.
Yes.
I'm excited about this. I mean, this is going to create a great, it's going to probably help us with a lot of issues on the back. I'm very familiar with the property. I'm gonna actually, in this case, we're gonna have to abstain my vote because I sold this property to the current owner many years back. And even though I'm not part of the development or the realtor, I will stay neutral. But I'm happy to see this new development because on the back part of where every street, if you, I don't know if you're familiar with Buena Vista and all those, and Ceniza, where it stops, we are having a little bit of water issues. There's a lot of water accumulation on the back because of the grading of that land. So that's a good thing. With the proper grading, I just recommend, and because I'm familiar with the property, I'm not saying that necessarily that part had any issues. There was, if I'm not mistaken, there were studies, soil treatments, soil studies about that area, all those acreage. Part, it's perfectly fine for development. The other ones are, we must just have, everything is developable, of course, but we need to take extra precautions because there are some parts, but more towards the back, there are parts of landfill, what used to be old landfill and others flood areas. So everything can be developed, but just I kindly ask planning and zoning, I kindly ask the developer and their engineers to just make the proper studies to make sure that we have everything documented and well prepared during the phases of the development, just to be extra careful for everyone's sake. But I'm excited about that, and hopefully the grading helps a lot and the future.
And there's a big need for housing in Eagle Pass.
Yes. So that area will sell pretty fast, I'm sure, and I'm happy for it. Just, just because of that, that's my only concern. But I'm sure that this developer, I know that they have the experience, and I'm sure that they're following the proper steps to do so. But just, that's my only suggestion, my opinion, and I'm pretty sure that they're taking all the precautions, but just to make sure.
Okay, thank you.
Yes, it's a really good comment she's making and a concern to bring up, because there are some areas there that was formerly a landfill. And the engineer record, I believe they have at least one member on the line. They might be able to explain a little bit better than me, but the way it was explained was that the phase one is outside of that former area, so it wouldn't impact this. And I think they will be addressing that in
It's a
phase
little
two.
bit, yeah, but just for the future, just to make sure that we have everything set and done. But yes, and the developer was also very familiar with that, and they have the studies and everything is in order. I just want to make sure. But yes, it's a good, that those phases are in the right place.
Okay. I believe we do have a motion by Mayor Pro Tem Ramon. Is your motion to approve the preliminary plat and deny the donation of the land
The way
in
you
lieu of the
presented.
parkland as
Presented.
presented? Okay.
I'll second that.
We have a motion and a second by Councilman Davis. Further discussion? All those in favor? Councilwoman Cruz, you said you were going to abstain, correct?
Oh, I was going to say yes, I'm sorry.
Okay, Councilwoman Cruz abstains, and we have 4 in favor. All right. At this time, we will move into executive session. Item 15, executive session pursuant to sections 551071 and 551072 of Chapter 551 Texas Government Code, consultation with attorney and discussion on real estate matters regarding acquisition of property for the domestic violence shelter and possible action in open session. And item 16, executive session pursuant to sections 551071 and 501071 of Chapter 551 Texas Government Code, consultation with attorney and discussion on real estate matters regarding acquisition of land for Fire Station Number 4 and possible action in open session. We will move to executive session at 6:33 p.m.
I already went to